I felt like this was one of the great untold stories of our time. It's an extraordinary love story between two people, but it's also a love story about our planet. And, on so many levels, these were like the original kind of this is a story about kind of the original dirtbag climbers and skiers and surfers that really defined a way of life and a culture and an era. But they were also extraordinary entrepreneurs that went on to do something that has never been done before, which falls in line with the stories that we love to tell. People achieving the impossible, and what they achieved in conservation is something that we've never seen before. It was the biggest private land donation in the history of mankind.
I mean, they were trying to create national parks, which I think culturally, in Chile and Argentina at the time, was completely foreign. I mean, Yvon Chouinard has a great line in the film. He's like, "You mean you want to buy this land and then give it back? Yeah, right." You know. um, but I guess one of the things that really moved me about this film and about the story was this idea of second chances where Doug Tompkins had led this very successful business life and you know created two of the largest brands on earth, the North Face and then Esprit, but then had this awakening and he said, this is not enough, it's not what I want to do. And then he leaves everything behind to go to Patagonia. And then likewise with Chris, she found, she was the founding CEO of the Patagonia company and she ran it for 20 years. And then she too was like, this is not my life. This is not where it can end. I don't want it to end here. And she found the love of her life in her 40s. So I think there's something about like this regeneration um, that really moved me in the story. And hopefully it allows audiences to bring that hope to our conservation story.
I mean, Rick, Yvonne, Doug, Chris, they were, my heroes. And they really shaped the way that I see the world, and in a lot of ways, like how I moved through the world. You know, when I started my career as a climber, and I lived in Yosemite, much like Doug and Yvonne, and then developed this appreciation of the natural world, in which it became apparent to me that it was also really important to protect it, because you protect what you love. And that's part of this story. This love story is about falling in love with this landscape of Patagonia and the lengths that they were willing to go to try and save this place that they loved. um, that story to me was deeply personal and also hugely inspiring. And so that's a big part of you know why we wanted to make this film, why we think it's important, why we think it's timely, because it is, we're at this moment in time where climate change is one of our biggest existential crises, and here's a few people that have been able to enact such kind of massive change um, around preserving the environment. And that's that to me is like a really truly inspiring story.
It's interesting because I think it's the first time our crew ever saw me run, which was from our screening to the Oscar, viewing, because I knew that the doc category was going to be fourth. So we made it in time. And sure, I mean, it's always, you know, I'm really proud of everyone who won last night. It was like everything, everywhere, all at once. We watched it while we were shooting our first fiction film when we were in the Dominican Republic, and it's great to see another Asian face up there. And it's also, you know, this idea of like everyone thanking their mothers. Like, I appreciate that.
But yes, of course, always when you're watching the Oscars, it's hard not to relive that moment and kind of relate and think about that anticipation, sitting in the chairs and waiting for that moment when they open the envelope, and that feeling of that eternal breath draw before they open it, where you can see it, in everybody on screen. It's pretty those are emotional moments for sure.